Hey everyone, welcome to the recap of the Walking Dead universe. We are here live every week to discuss the latest episodes, except today. Today we are pre recorded because it's Halloween. You can catch our recaps anytime, available on most major podcast platforms. Get new and past episodes for free in the app of your choice, including YouTube. I'm Tamara, your host, and I love a good TV show and a good book. So if you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Recap Pods. And if you're into books, you can also find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me is show co-host. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey Tamara, hey everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I am also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. So if you'd like to connect with me online, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Lisa Orban Author or at Indies United Pub.
All right, so if you are catching this on a replay, you can still comment on any platform, or you can even call us by using the voicemail link in the show notes. We do want to hear from you and possibly include your comments in upcoming episodes. So if you are new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Right. No scene by scene breakdowns here. We jump around. Huge spoiler alert for everything, for every show throughout the world through yesterday's episode.
That's
So,
right.
yes. So for you, we don't watch ahead. We
We
are,
could,
we
but we
could.
don't.
We don't. Yes, we we are doing this for you, and if you're good with that, this is the place for you. So we should just jump right on in. Today we are talking about episode 21 in the final season.
Yes. I'm,
Yes.
honestly, I really liked this episode. I thought it was entertaining. Um, it moved. I didn't think it had any slow spots. It moved at this really nice clip, and I enjoyed it.
Okay. Cool. That's great. I mean, this should be a real easy conversation then. Like I also liked it. Now, to be fair, I did watch it several days ago, so
Hmm.
all the excitement I felt right after watching it has faded a little bit, but I did like it. And I did have like actually I didn't have any problems with it. None.
I
None
watched it
really.
3 hours ago,
Nice.
so I
Nice.
still have the excitement. I can carry you, Tamara. I've got you. I got
Okay,
you.
great. You can carry it for me. Awesome. But I was wondering though, like I think just thinking about the 3 episodes we have left because there's only 3.
Yeah, I know.
Um, do you think this is a fast-moving episode. They covered a lot of ground pretty fast, and it
Hmm.
seems like almost unusual for The Walking Dead to be moving this fast.
I liked it though.
Yeah. But do you think that we're even going to make it where we need to be? Because it still seems like there's a lot of ground to cover.
Well, okay. I'm gonna say so. We found out that Connie was designation 2. All right, which kind of reminds me a lot of the CRMs. Is it an alpha or a beta?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, and the comment made that we don't know what happens to them. They get taken to a spot and then we never see them again. So I
Yeah.
think that is the connection right there with the CRM.
Yeah, it's like an unofficial connection. We don't
Hmm.
really we're hoping. I hope it's the right connection, but it's
Well,
we'll
this is
see.
my guess because we
Yeah.
know that at the end of this, that Daryl gets taken.
Mhm.
All right, and he ends up in Europe for whatever reason, and apparently they're not going to give us a whole lot of details. They're just dropping him in there, and he has no idea how he got there. So I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm going to assume that this is part of the CRM's snatch and grab scenario.
Yeah, so maybe so Annie, for example, she was also taken to a quote unquote other site. So
Hmm.
she was taken to designation 2?
They didn't say, they just said it was another work camp. And I did see the previews for next week, and it
Mhm.
does show her with Negan.
Okay, so well, we know that he has a plan to get out of there, right? So
I think he has the workings of a plan.
yeah, the workings of a plan. That's a good way to put it. Um, so let's talk about his plan right quick because I don't hate it, right? We don't know what he's going to do exactly.
But he's willing to die for it.
He is willing to die for it, but we all know he won't.
Right. We know he won't, but just putting it out there, he did, I mean, making this plan when he was talking to Ezekiel, he pretty much said, he that he was willing to die to get these people out because he's and I did like the interaction between the two of them because Ezekiel, he's never forgiven Negan for what happened.
No,
For all the bad, for all, and he brings that, and he brings all of those up in this really concise little 2-minute tirade.
but he needed that. We needed that to
Yeah,
remind, if you think back, we don't really see Ezekiel and Negan have any interaction.
yeah, and we
He's
haven't, not
really avoided him.
right since I think the last time we saw them together on screen, it was before the big war,
Yeah.
between the two, between the communities.
So I think that was needed in order,
Hmm.
and he like gruffly agreed. He's like, "Yeah, I'm in for now." Right.
Yeah.
And I think that whole thing, it had to go that way for it to be believable because just
Hmm.
because they're in a tight spot, he would not just start trusting Negan like that.
Right.
He had to speak his mind.
Right. You had forced wives. There was the killings and yada yada. I mean, and he did. I thought very concisely. He laid out why you are a bad man, and Negan didn't even try to fight. He goes, "Yeah, I deserve to be here or someplace like this. I'm not going to deny it,
Yeah,
but
but you don't deserve it. None of these other people deserve it.
my wife and
My
unborn
wife,
child
right.
do,
They
do
don't
not
deserve
deserve
it.
this." And so, and that's when he said, just he's like, "You can be the beacon of hope, and I can't. That's not who I am."
At least he knows his lane.
Yeah. My lane is, violence and intimidation. We all know that. He's going
Yeah.
to lean, and he's going to lean into it.
Yeah, I mean, and I actually like that he owns that,
Hmm.
he's like, "You can I would need the gun to do what I do." We don't
Right.
have the guns. So, I need you to do what you do best, and that
Right.
is hope, and that's
Exactly.
not me. And I'm like, "Thank goodness, his ego isn't so overblown." Now, I do wanna say, I heard, and I don't know how true this is, so take it with a grain of salt.
Okay.
But I heard rumored that Negan's character kind of reverts back after this show is over.
I if he does, I don't know how he could work with Maggie.
Now, see, this is the thing. So I'm thinking in this episode, they are setting something up. So while we saw his wife in the trailer, that doesn't mean she doesn't die.
Right. Well, yeah, obviously.
Right. So what if she dies? That would make him lose his shit.
Right. But again, if he reverts back to the old Negan, there's absolutely no way that Maggie would work with him at all.
Unless, because I think they're setting something else up. So also in
Killing
this,
Herschel.
not killing him, but taking him somewhere where she cannot reach.
Oh.
So let's say, because the whole thing, Maggie, we saw the little scene where they yanked Herschel away from her,
Mm-hmm.
and we know they took the kids somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what if something happens where they got split, or, I'm just throwing shit out there, you guys. I don't really know. Who knows what's really going to happen? But if Herschel is somehow, let's say it's a CRM and they take him away
Mm-hmm. To New
somewhere.
York.
Yeah. And now she has a reason to go. Now Negan's like, "Oh, I'm getting revenge on these bitches."
Well, you know what? It's even, I mean, if they're taking on, now they did say that if they were good, they'd be able to see occasionally be able to see the kids. True or
Mhm.
not?
Mhm.
Um, but if they are working with the CRM, and we
Mhm.
do know that the CRM does have had a base in New York,
Mhm.
if they took all the kids there with Negan's wife being pregnant, it's possible that she would be transported with them.
Yeah, maybe Annie and him are together.
Hmm. Because I mean, if you think about it, if this has to do with kids, I don't know what the CRM is doing. But then again, we have that other group over on Fear the Walking Dead that are stealing children too. Maybe it's
Yes.
them. I don't know.
I don't
Um,
know, but we've said before in previous episodes, what would make Maggie leave? Like, I can't imagine her leaving her child, how much she raves about her child. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
so she would have to be following him or trying to
Hmm.
get him.
And it would make sense that if they took Herschel and they took Negan's wife, then that would give them the reason for the two of them to work together.
Yes,
Then
they
again,
have
you
a
also have to
mutual.
ask, I mean, there's a lot of children gone. I mean, all of uh, Jerry's kids, you know.
I can't imagine. See, that's why I think something unique or special happens because
Yeah.
I can't imagine them just taking a boatload of kids
Hmm.
and then, it just seems so specific that Maggie and Negan are going on this adventure, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess I mean, what would make Herschel more special than the rest of these kids? Nothing really. I mean, truthfully, I
Yeah.
mean, Herschel is special to us just because, Maggie and Glenn. But to them, I mean, this kid really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't sorted that out yet. I'm just trying to think of like how they could be setting that up because we've talked about before, like how they're going to end this, right? Like it has
Hmm.
to make sense. Make it
Right.
make sense. And both Negan, like what could turn Negan bad after all of his work on his redemption? What could turn him crazy again?
Right.
And what would make her leave? I can't imagine her leaving Herschel like that. It just doesn't
Exactly.
fit. So, I feel like it's tied to them somehow, some way. I don't know how they're gonna work it, but
Well, I
it's
mean,
it's gotta
yeah.
be.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, because again, we know that Daryl at the end of this somehow ends up over in Europe.
Mhm.
All right. And so I could see, yeah. I mean, but why they would take those two specific ones and not the rest of the kids? And here's the other thing. Okay, so we know at the very end of the episode, they're traveling on the roads and you can see people kind of looking kind of weird about their, where they're going. Like, wait a minute, this is looking familiar.
Oh, man.
And then they roll up out into Alexandria.
Yeah. What
And
a shocker, right? I'm like, "Oh my god, they took over Alexandria."
now here's the thing. So uh what's her name? Basically gave these guys, and this was way before, and this was before, when they were going to have a peaceful leaving. Uh, said, yeah, take supplies and everything else. They sent out Jerry and those guys to go make contact with Oceanside. So Alexandria has been occupied, and no one bothered to mention this to
Right,
this group of people.
right.
And so, what were they going to do? Say, yeah, I'm almost wondering if she was just letting them go blindly into the slaughter.
Maybe.
I mean,
I don't.
if you think about it, because this is a work camp, all right, and it's not just these guys, because um, the little conversation, the only way to make the city work is for people like you to come and do the dirty stuff.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
it's got to be a lot of those missing people. So they've already moved them, at least a chunk of them, to Alexandria. And
I think they're constantly migrating these people, to be honest. Because
yeah,
last week we were talking about, well, where could they be taking them? And I said, "Oh, they're working on that railroad."
right.
They are. Most
And
of them
apparently
are.
it's pretty close to Alexandria right now. So they've been
Yeah,
working on this for a while.
right, and they're probably just they're moving them down the line. As they clear everything and get
Yeah.
everything sorted, they just move the colony down.
Hmm.
So who knows where they people could be every which way doing all sorts of work.
Hmm. So yeah, they open the doors and they're there. Now, on the bright side, they still have the secret tunnels into Alexandria that I don't think that these guys know about.
Yeah, they do have a severe advantage. And you can tell that at the end, they're like, Maggie's like, hey, we're going to go and they are not going to see us coming.
Yeah. And as soon as I saw him going into Alexandria, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. The tunnels.
Right,
Everyone from Alexandria knows about the tunnels.
right.
Because they hidden there when the walkers came, and then then left.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember where they deposit him, but it's well outside of the encampment. I mean, then again, they also have they also have secret tunnels in Hilltop too.
They could probably even remember where there might have been a plank in the fence that was loose. As
Right,
simple as that.
right,
They lived there a long time.
right. So these newcomers, I mean, I'm sure they're watching. You know the they're watching the perimeter, and they're walking the walls, but the
They have
people that
blind
lived
spots.
in Alexandria. I mean, now granted that tunnel is right there, more or less in the center of town where you have to go into it. Um, so I mean, a little difficult, but again, I mean it does give them an advantage.
Yes, a huge advantage. And the Commonwealth, they have blind spots that they don't even know they have.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that could totally be crazy. And if they do it right, they're very skilled. We have Maggie who's skilled. We have Daryl who's skilled. And of course,
Hmm.
Carol, right? Like, so we
Yeah,
have very skilled people in this particular group. Um,
and
e-
Gabriel was very useful.
yes,
It
Gabriel was useful.
I mean, in his capacity as a minister, and he's like, wait a minute, I know this guy,
He
and he
he
got a final confession from him.
he can use a knife too. So, like, he would be good in this fight, but he
Hmm.
also has a skill that no one else has. Like, I'm not sure anyone else in that group would have been able to talk the information out of that guy like Gabriel did.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Gabriel allowed him to give his final confession,
Mhm.
to be, blessed before death, to unburden his soul. And, so yeah, I mean, that was,
Oh, look at you putting it all nicely. Really what it is you don't want to go to hell, do you? You better tell us.
I know, I'm aware. I was trying to be nice about this. Okay. I am occasionally a nice-ish kind of person, kind of. All right.
Right.
Just saying.
I mean, he did wrap it up with some pretty words,
He
He
did.
he did his thing, but ultimately that was it. Come on.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I'm
it
pretty
worked.
sure if Gabriel had said, "Do you want to go to hell? You better tell me everything you know." I don't think it would have worked.
No.
You
But
know.
I think he also had some influence on him because he said, "Hey, you come to church and you sit in the back."
Yeah, he noticed him.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest thing, that Gabriel had noticed him, remembered him.
Yeah.
Sat, very last row next to the door, always late coming, always the first one, to leave, slip out quietly. And when he made the comment, I wish I had come and talked to you, and Gabriel said, I wish you had too. Because he obviously had some serious reservations about what is going on.
Right.
Um, and then the train conductor. Oh my God, the train conductor. He's
Yeah.
from apparently another small outlying settlement that they didn't know about. Um, and they're essentially holding his family hostage to his good behavior.
Right. Like, as long as you keep doing what we want, no harm comes to your family.
Right. So basically, I mean, Milton's has built up this community, the Commonwealth, on the backs of the surrounding groups that they're fighting and exploiting them.
You know, not to be
Big
rude, but
shocker.
this is what Negan wished he could have done when he was bad
Yeah.
Negan.
I wonder if he has a little bit of envy.
Right. Right.
Because this is what he was going for
Right.
ultimately.
Mhm.
Was the rebuilding of some vestige of civilization, with and using the kingdom and the other small communities to feed and supply for them.
Right.
So it just turns out that this woman was way more efficient at it than he was.
Mhm.
That
And she
must.
had help. That's the difference. She had help.
Yeah,
And Negan was, I mean, he had his little people, but they were all following him under fear, right?
yeah, they were lackeys. I
Yeah,
mean, and
they
it's
were
not to say that,
lackeys.
that Milton doesn't have lackeys, because she does.
Mhm.
Um, that is her name. No, Pamela. Yeah, Pamela.
Pamela
Um,
Milton, yeah.
but I think the difference between her and Negan ultimately is she at least puts on the veneer of civilization. She gives people this idea that I'm bringing you back to something good and safe and wonderful. Believe in me. And Negan was like, don't do what I say. See my bat?
Yeah, he
You
ruled with
know?
a iron fist, right? Or a bat
Yeah.
with a barbed
And
wire.
exactly. So I mean, Pamela really has, she keeps people in line by, she gives them, the citrus for the masses, essentially. And then she
Essentially.
culls the herd, apparently, and has been to do the dirty work to help build, to help keep this place supplied. Because you and I have both talked, how are they feeding all these people?
Right.
And obviously on these trains and stuff, I mean, they've got motorcycles, and I mean, there's manufacturing going on.
Well, if anything, they're pulling in, you know, trucks and
Mm-hmm.
jeeps and bikes from other places and fixing them. They have mechanics. They're getting
Mm-hmm.
gas. There's no way they're doing this without a CRM connection. It just doesn't seem possible.
Well, I mean, I mean, they could be doing it on their own, or it could just, or there could be an exchange between the two.
Well, we've said
Um,
before, they're a big community.
yeah,
And now we're finding out they're even bigger than we originally thought they were.
and it's even bigger than most people in the Commonwealth are aware of. As
Mhm.
far as they're aware, it's the city. This is our This is the entirety of our, world.
And everything we have just magically shows up.
Hmm.
Thanks.
But I mean, she very much, Milton has worked very hard to keep people from questioning things. It's very her entire reign has been about misdirection. Don't look over here. Look at the ice cream.
Right.
Look at if you work really hard, you can go to the fancy parties. So she's given them this, the the lottery and stuff. So that turns out to be completely rigged. Big shocker.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and so I mean, she's giving people these little illusions of being able to get ahead and so on and so forth. But I mean, the fact is in her own way, she is just as bad as Negan. She just does it with a softer edge.
Yeah, she's definitely equally as bad, but she does it differently. So she
Yeah.
still killed people, right? She still killed a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
She still enslaved a lot of people.
Yeah, but she
Sh
does it one layer away, which is
Yeah,
that's the biggest difference between her and Negan. Is Negan stepped right up to the bat. I'm
literally.
sorry, I couldn't not do that one. But he did, and he's like, no, I'm the big bad, and I'll do my own dirty work.
Mhm.
And Pamela's the kind of person that she will put other people like Hornsby, in that next layer down to do the dirty work so she can theoretically keep her hands clean.
Uh-huh.
But she's no better than Negan. She's just cleaner.
Right. I agree. I agree. That is exactly it. So I just also wanted to talk about, so actually the beginning of this episode I thought was pretty hilarious. So
Oh yeah.
they're okay, so they're all like split up. They're in their prospective vehicles being taken to places. And then who's the first to awaken is Maggie. She
Well,
breaks, yeah,
technically, it was not
technically it
Maggie.
was Ezekiel, right?
It was, but he got
Right.
caught.
Yeah, he got caught. But the first person to awake stealthily
Yes.
was Maggie, and she goes to, now this chick is bad. She breaks those things that were on her arms by
Hmm.
herself. She just pulls really hard and those things break.
Well, in if you snap them just right with the right
Yes.
kind of force, they'll unlock.
I've
They'll
seen
snap.
people on YouTube do it.
Yeah,
And
it's
you have
hard.
to use extreme force and you have to hit it just right.
Yeah,
And it still leaves a bruise on your arm.
yeah. It's a lot better if you have your hands in front of
Front
you
of
than
you,
behind
right?
you.
But that's why I'm like, she's badass. Like they
Yeah,
had
she
her
is.
do that. And then of course she had to cut Gabriel loose.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I don't think she cut him loose. I think she broke him loose.
Yeah, she had to help him. He didn't have the strength to do it himself.
Yeah.
But she did that, and then of course then they got um her name. Oh my god, it's a blank. Help me.
Oh,
It's
Coco's
it's
mom.
on it's right on the tip of
I
my
know.
oh
Same
my
here.
gosh. And Rosita, Lord have
There you
mercy.
go.
So you know, they're almost out, you
Yeah.
know? Rosita jumps, Gabriel jumps, and then of course,
Truck hits a bump, knocks her
right.
backwards.
And this stupid dude is in there sleeping. He's
Mhm.
sleeping. I'm like, you are the worst kind of soldier. You supposed to be watching them and you are napping, and two or three of them escaped because you're
Yeah.
sleeping.
Well, I mean, car rides are soothing and it's quiet and dark and they're supposed to be, passed out.
If they weren't in that accident and if they didn't die anyway, they would have been dead for that.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine if that truck had actually made it and they could open it up and people are just gone?
Ugh. Like they arrive, the guy wakes up and they're just nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, they're just gone. Yeah, that would have actually been kind of funny.
Yeah.
But
That's almost what it was had they not,
yeah, crash into the
Yeah.
into the tree.
But the
And
beginning of that episode was like awesome. I'm like, wow, what is going on here? Like,
mhm. And you
I
notice
like it.
they pretty much, aside from Negan and Ezekiel, their most badass fighters are all on the outside now.
Mm-hmm.
So and and I'm kind of wondering at this point, because again we've got Jerry and Lydia and her boyfriend and what's it, Adam,
Aaron.
Aaron, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
all on their way to Oceanside.
Right.
What the hell are they going to find there?
Who knows? They have no clue of what's going on. They're
They have
just
no idea that their
no,
people have been kidnapped and there's a
no.
trial. You know,
Yes.
I mean, nothing. They're just dot 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 dot. On the road.
Now, I did find interesting that because last week we talked about how oh, why are names are like bad for me this week. I am sorry. What is the woman's name? Um
I don't know. There's a
that
lot of
was
them.
on the train that Daryl wanted to
Connie.
Connie, thank you. So we know Connie was like a badass last week, when she
Yeah.
injured one of the people. That's why she wasn't taken along with Kelly.
Right.
So unfortunately, Kelly is with Ezekiel and
Not doing so
Negan,
good.
and she is struggling, man.
Yeah. Well, she's lost her sister once.
I know. And she's still young, right? She's still a
Hmm.
young person. She is mentally struggling. Like all
Yes.
she wants to do is run away.
Hmm.
And Zeke is like, do not do anything.
Right. And he was
Do
right
not.
because they had snipers in the trees. Snipers
Yeah.
somewhere.
As we promptly see when some other people try to make a run for it and they are promptly shot down.
Yes.
So he's like, I'm not new to this rodeo. Don't do anything stupid. But she looked like she's about to lose it.
Yeah. I mean, she's not, and it's not like I said, it's not surprising. I mean, she just got her sister back.
I know. Seems like that just happened, right?
I mean, I'm sure it's been several months TV time.
Right.
But still, I mean, her, the worry and the anxiety of her sister being missing and presumed dead, and the circumstances under which they found her, even, I mean, you know, the, there's a lot of intense feelings, I should say, um,
Yeah.
going on with her. And I just, and I know Connie is doing okay. She's not doing okay, but she's at least with a group that is free and they're making a plan.
And she is all about her sister as well. Like the two of
Hmm.
them are a package. Like
Hmm.
they both have deficits, right? And so they really rely on each other, not just because they love each other because they're sisters, but they work in succinct as a team.
Right.
And they need each other. They rely on each other. So she's like, "No, I need to get Kelly. We got
Yeah.
to figure this out."
And I honestly, I really thought it was fucking brilliant that they're like, okay, we got to get the long range radio working. Hi, I've been attacked. The train's
Oh,
been
that was
attacked.
brilliant. Rosita was so good.
I know, right? And then she got the gossipy dispatcher.
Just telling all the business.
What are the odds? But I mean, I guess, I mean, since she had the radio and she knew the lingo, they never questioned who she was.
No. That just tells
And
me that they've got such a I guess they're so used to things just working, right? It's been
mhm,
working for a long time. They've probably had 0 incidents for a long time. So people have gotten relaxed.
yeah. Well, and they probably knew, because there was at least one woman on that train that was a stormtrooper.
Right.
So it's me. I'm
Right.
lost. Train was attacked.
Exactly.
And they have no idea who even attacked the train, to be quite truthful. And from everything that I've seen, I think there's another marauder group running around
I
as
don't
well.
think they even know the train was attacked yet because they killed everybody that was on it. The one guy that tried to escape, Daryl ran him down.
Yeah, but no, because Rosita said, she's like, no, the train was attacked. I'm
Right.
lost in the woods.
She did say that, but
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to use that train.
I'm kind of wondering myself, but it would make more sense for them to disable it
Yeah.
and then take one of the Jeeps.
Yeah, it does. I don't
Um,
know. Yeah.
because I mean that train, people are going to hear it coming.
Mhm.
There's nothing stealthy about that train.
No, not at all. Especially now
So
that she said they were attacked. You're right. So
so my
she
guess
can't
is
use
that
that.
they're going to take Jeeps and the motorcycles.
Well, you can hear that too. That's not quiet either.
Well, no, but they can come up around and then ditch them, and you can see by that area there's a lot of activity. So you know some automobile traffic, essentially they'll probably think is just
Their own people.
their
Yeah.
own people, because they
Yeah.
travel almost it's not like they're out there walking around patrolling. If they're out patrolling, they've got vehicles.
Mhm.
So if they hear them, they'll probably just assume it's part of the patrol.
Right.
And
Well,
and again, they're in Alexandria, which means everyone that they have is very familiar with that area.
except Connie. Is she really familiar with Alexandria?
Uh, well, no, she was more over in Hilltop, but
Yeah.
still, she's with a group of people that all know it very well.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't think she can go off and do anything alone without
No,
Kelly in an
no.
unfamiliar area. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think she can fight, right? We've seen her before.
Oh yeah,
We know she can fight. We know she can defend herself if needed, but I can't see her like you can't how do you explain exactly where to go and what to do? I guess
right.
Daryl's been working on his sign and she can read lips, but
Yeah, I think she's going to stick close to Daryl throughout this
yeah.
entire thing.
Mhm.
And and like I said, I'm in looking at the previews for tomorrow or for next week. Well, technically now, but you know what I mean. The next episode,
Mhm.
you see them going into tunnels, so that's obviously how they're getting into Alexandria.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so it it should be interesting. I mean, and here's the thing: they could probably slip one person in and let the others know, "Hey, we're here."
Mhm.
Because as long as they're milling around on the inside, the troops are looking on the outside more than the inside because they're in.
Right. And
So
it's a little town. One person might be able to slink around and not be too noticed.
right, as long as they look,
They fit,
they fit. As
Right.
long as they're dirty and look afraid, that's really all they need to do.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't think these guards don't care about these people.
They
They don't.
don't. And
They don't
half of
even.
them don't even really believe in what they're doing.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they could probably slip one person in. Probably couldn't. I mean, it couldn't be Daryl. Too many people would recognize him. As far as the troopers, and same thing with um the one we just had, uh
Who?
Coco's mom,
Rosita.
Rosita. They can't, or Father, or Gabriel, but they might be able to slip in like maybe Carol. Carol's really good at blending.
Yeah, she can blend.
She's very, very good at that. And she's good at hand-to-hand combat too. So I
Mhm.
think that would be who I slipped in there, would be her.
Carol is the CIA agent that everyone needs. Like,
Yeah,
she could do the absolute most. I mean, she does everything. She
yeah.
can physically hurt people, she can poison people, she can talk her way into things and out of things.
Hmm.
She can
And
look like she is totally helpless or
hmm,
dangerous.
yeah. I think Maggie is familiar with Alexandria, but not in the same way that,
And
um
Maggie's too hyped up right now.
exactly, and that's the other thing I was gonna say. And they,
Yeah.
so I think their best bet is to, if they're going to send in a spy, so to speak, to rally the troops, she would be the one.
Mhm. And can
And
I just say, like, we kind of like skip this, but I do want to make the point. Can I just say, remember how when we used to talk about Connie and Daryl and oh, their possible cute relationship? Daryl, when he found out Connie was on that train, he was
oh yeah,
about it.
oh yeah, it was
He
game
was
over.
he was like, I'm getting her. And Carol had to calm him down, talk him down.
Hmm.
So here we go again. Carol know what's up,
Yeah.
but what she said made sense, right? It did make complete sense. But he was
Hmm.
like ready to like just go crazy and bust her out of there.
Yeah. But the plan they had was much better.
Oh yeah. It was much better because you have to think like Connie's not the only person we have to save.
Hmm.
We need to look at the long game here and how do we get her and them. And that was the smart thing, you know?
I wonder. Okay, so if they put Rosita in one of the stormtrooper outfits, they're expecting her.
They are. They just have to yank someone and let her put the armor on.
They've already got the armor. They got the one woman that they took off the train.
Oh, you know what? She could stroll right in there because she knows all the protocols, right? She knows
Yeah,
she worked with them.
exactly.
So
And it's
she
not like you
should be
can
able to
really. I
blend.
mean, it's a full face covering.
Yeah.
And as long as the armor appears to fit her, and they look similar sized, she can just put that armor on and just stroll right through the doors
You know, and the
because
best
she's
part about
expected.
her, she is also cool-headed. She keep her head together because, like, she
Hmm.
is also worried about her child, but she's not losing it like,
Right.
Maggie is.
Yeah. And the other thing is again, I mean, Carol is a good CIA agent, don't get me wrong. But in this case, yeah, if they sent Rosita in, fully masked,
Mhm.
and they all look alike pretty much
Mhm.
when they're, so she could just wander in and, stop by, various people and go, "Hey, we're here. We're going through the tunnels.
And
Pass
they
the word."
already had the end because the woman on the phone said, "Hey, we're waiting on you," basically.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. She could
Yeah,
just stroll right up and they'll let her right in
right.
because she's
You're
expect
assuming no one knows what that woman looks like, though. They probably do, but as long as they don't force her to take her mask
yeah,
off right away, she might slide
and
by.
that's what I'm saying because, the between the mask and the goggles and the helmet, and it's dark.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess they could get there in daylight, but even still, since they're expecting her to stroll through, I don't think anyone will question because they're not looking they're only looking at very specific threats at this point.
Right.
That woman on the radio never questioned who Rosita was.
No, because, honestly, when she's on the mic for we're talking to a lot of different soldiers probably all day.
Yeah.
She don't
You know,
know
and
one from the other. They say the call numbers and she knows how to respond.
yeah, and they heard the call numbers,
Yep.
because they waited for him to radio contact. So they've got the call numbers, and that's all Rosita has to do.
Mhm.
I'm such and I'm whatever, and you're expecting me. Or she could just, she could limp in. So, oh, that was a hard road, you know.
Right. They attacked me. That was such a long walk. Oh my god.
Exactly. And they'll, I mean, honestly, I think they would
Mhm.
just let her in because the they're thinking of people. The problem is or not the problem, but the reality is they are used to dealing with the people of the Commonwealth. They were, let's face it, sheeple,
Mhm.
or these little tiny communities that aren't, that they're making it. They survive, but obviously they're not, you know, the rebelling type.
Mhm.
And then we've got the Alexandrians with Negan,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and what they have, and they don't realize it. They basically put the ferrets in with the chickens,
Mhm.
and there's they're sneaky and they're dedicated, and Carol even said it. We got separated, and so we became weak. But as
Right.
long as we're together, we can do anything.
Mhm.
It's our shared, misery essentially is what makes us strong.
Yeah. And honestly, like, they don't know Negan from a hole in the wall,
No,
remember?
they don't.
He just strolled up in there one day, so they don't know anything about him, so they have really underestimated everyone, really.
Mhm. Well, and Negan has been very polite for Negan. Hey, I just want to ask about my wife.
Yes.
you know,
Mhm.
he's not he like Carol. He can be stealthy if he wants to.
Yeah.
And he's not exhibiting any signs that he could be a threat.
Right.
And they
Mhm.
don't know what a dangerous person he is.
They're about to find out, though.
Oh, they're about to find out. Yeah. But I mean, it's not like they have his history,
Right,
you
right.
know. Now, if they knew his history, they would
They would have him in chains. He wouldn't be going anywhere.
he would be section 2.
Mhm.
Because I'm pretty sure that's why Connie was sent off, is because she was deemed dangerous since she had
Mm.
managed to escape.
Yeah, and Connie, she had a high visible, a job that was really visible and in
Mhm.
Pamela's face, and Pamela knew she was doing this stuff to disrupt her life.
Mhm.
So she probably said, "No, she can never come back here. So she can't go to a work camp where she can maybe come back here again."
Right. Well, and I don't, I mean, you and I both know once these people have been sent off to this work camp, they're never going to send them back to the Commonwealth because they don't want the people of the Commonwealth to know what their city is being built on.
Yeah, it's that whole thing just like with the poor people in the city, and they're telling them
Mhm.
about the stupid lottery that's fixed.
Right.
It's just a pipe dream, keep them working, keep them
Mhm.
docile.
Because I mean, the community is really cool, but I mean, let's face it, all this is it's just the visible trappings so that Pamela and her group of lackeys, those people that were like in the room with her going, oh, great things are happening. It's just so they can be comfortable.
Yeah.
Everything about this, every facet of this community is based on keeping the people just satisfied enough that they don't question why there's such a disparity between them and Pamela and her group.
Right. Right.
And giving the illusion that, hey, one day you can join us.
Yeah. Just like, I mean, honestly, that happens like right here in our real world.
Right. Exactly.
Except supposedly the lottery isn't rigged, supposedly.
Well, I've never won, so,
Me
must
neither.
be rigged.
I've never
Yeah.
known anyone either, so
I would, I just, I don't even need like the $1 billion one. Just, a nice, give me $1 million and, that would solve all my problems. I could live happily.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just saying, I'm really good with money.
I hear
But
you. I'm not greedy. I can take a
I'm not
million.
greedy. Just $1 million. Come on, man. That's like, that's like poor people rich.
Yeah, that's not rich. Honestly, $1 million just not
Yeah.
rich.
You know, I said
It's
that's
just
poor
enough to
people
get
rich.
you out of the one category and into another, but you're still not rich at $1 million.
Right. It gets you out of the really hard rat race,
Yeah.
But I mean, I mean, if you were very frugal, you could live off of that money. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. But yeah, if you go, if you go with the other rich people, they'll be like, no, you're the
It,
poor.
it's like, you are so poor. Get out of here.
Yeah, you are the poor rich people.
Right. Oh
you
my
know,
gosh. Yeah.
but like I said, this entire community, everything really is, it's not there for the people. It's not there to rebuild civilization. It's all for the creature comforts of the upper echelon. That's the only reason this whole place exists, because to have that standard of living, you have to have the peons.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You
Someone
know,
has to take the trash out, right?
yeah,
Someone's got to turn the
cook the
lights,
food.
make sure the lights run. Someone's got to do all of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, sew the clothes, because
Right.
obviously they're, so I mean, they need tailors and bakers and, candlestick makers, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, and then they need the really bad off people, the slaves.
Yeah. They got the real low workers, and they got the drug dealers, and they've got all the things
Hmm.
that you need.
To support, this small group of people at the top,
Mhm.
and the rest, and while giving the illusion that this is all for you.
Right. Lies.
Yeah, I mean, they're very pretty lies.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, I mean, and again, even the guard there says, and it could be worse. You could be out in the wilderness. These guys are like, we want to be out in the wilderness. Yeah, let us go.
Yeah.
We're fine out in the
Exactly.
wilderness.
I'm fine. We're
We're
great.
fine.
Thanks. Okay,
But they're
bye. We'll go.
but again, they're also used to, but their fallacy here is that they are used to dealing with the people that are from the Commonwealth who don't have those survival skills, which will not happily, but will accept their fate, because in their mind, okay, fine, I'm working hard labor and the food is awful and yada yada, but I'm not out there.
Well, not even just that. I think all of the other communities that they've brought into the Commonwealth, those communities were not as steadfast as our communities are.
Hmm.
Because those other communities, I mean, we don't know how much of a fight they put up, right?
Right.
We don't know that, but we've got to assume that they eventually conformed, right?
Hmm.
They're not, yeah, they're a part of it. So they have
Right.
conformed. So this is the first group probably that hasn't.
Right. And so they're lumping, the the hilltop and Alexandria and possibly even Oceanside people into the same category of the townies,
Yeah.
and who don't have the coping skills to go outside, because they don't let the average citizens just go out of the walls. There's a whole protocol thing of getting in and out of it. So they can't just leave. Even if they wanted to, they can't just leave.
Right.
And so the only ones that really go outside are the soldiers. So they're looking at everyone in this group under the same guise that they have always dealt with the people of the Commonwealth. Give them a little bit of food, a little bit of, a lot of fear, and the threat of being kicked out.
Mhm.
And that should be enough to keep them in line, because it's always been enough to keep everyone in line.
Yeah. So I kind of want to twist the change the subject a little bit. So how when the variant episode came out and
Hmm.
we were like, "Oh, I wonder if we'll ever see another Walker like this in this
Hmm.
season." And we're not going to.
I don't think so.
I was kind of disappointed. Like they had a couple opportunities, where we could have seen a variant of someone turning and being something else. Just one. They only had to show one.
That
One
kid would have
something.
been a perfect example.
Yeah. But they didn't do it. I'm like, oh man, I guess that is just, hey, let's just put this out there, drop it there and walk away from it because I don't know. I was kind of disappointed in that. But that kid would have been the perfect opportunity to,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Shows some signs of intelligence,
Yeah, exactly.
which would have made, Maggie killing it so much harder. And
I
she was
know.
already struggling.
I feel like at one point, Maggie, she is a walking contradiction in a lot of ways. So, for
Mhm.
example, like I understand why she was having problems killing that kid walker, right?
Because he was the same age as Herschel.
Right. Not only that, I think they just have like a sensitivity about kids in general. And
Right.
her son just got yanked away from her.
Yeah.
But you're here trying to rescue your child, reunite with your child, and by not killing this walker, you're just holding it in the street. A random Jeep is approaching. You don't even try to hide or move. You don't know who that is.
Mhm.
It's so dumb. I'm like, what? It's like uh, I thought she was smarter than that. She really lucked out, that it was just her own people.
Right.
But that could have been more Commonwealth soldiers or
Mhm.
anybody else random that came across her. She's just sitting there holding the kid in the street.
I think I think there's a part of her at that point was just kind of giving up a little bit. You could see there is definite defeat on her face because as far as she knows, she's the only one that made it.
Hmm.
She has no idea that Carol and Daryl made it out. She had no idea that anyone else survived. I mean, she kicked out Gabriel and what's her name?
Rosita.
But I don't know why I'm having such a hard time remembering her name today. Uh, but she has no idea that if they're alive or not because she couldn't find them.
I,
And
I get it. I get all of that. But like I mentioned earlier, how hard she goes for her child.
I know,
You would think that her child will override all of that. Like, I'll deal with the rest of it after I have my kid back.
yeah, I know, and I get that. I think I don't know. I think she just had this momentary lapse into despair. Honestly,
Because it's probably as simple as that. But there was another scene, maybe I can't remember. I think it was what Kelly said when they were like looking for her sister before. I think she said this to Daryl. She kind of like said something like, we can't rescue her if we're dead or something.
right,
And that like applies. You can't rescue your son if you are captured or
right.
dead. Get it together.
I know, and I mean, and I absolutely agree with you. I just human nature,
Human nature gets people killed.
yeah. But we all reach a non coping point, and if given a brief grace of retrieval, we can regroup. But there is the death of despair. I mean, and people do die of heartbreak. I mean, that's an actual medical thing, dying of heartbreak.
Oh, I believe
Um,
it. I believe
we
that.
we all have our Maggie is a strong person, but we all have certain limits, and I think at that moment she had reached max capacity, and just she she needed that she needed a moment of grace, and she's gotten it, and she's rebounded. But when
She got it. That was her one. She got one.
right,
Because to
but
me, any more than that, and I'm gonna be like, this is some BS.
mhm,
Because yes, we know you live, right? Yes, we know this. But that doesn't mean you can be dumb about it.
right, and I think I think part of I think they may have done it just to show her as human, because in some ways they've kind of turned Daryl and Carol and Maggie into almost super human gods on this show, more or less. These are the people that survive when no one else does. They're the badasses.
Well, I
And
definitely don't see Maggie in that light. I've always seen her as more emotional than the others,
yeah.
always. Just
Oh
from how
yeah.
she dealt with Negan, right?
Right. You know, but
I've
but
Go ahead.
last week, I mean, they gave Daryl his moment of weakness.
Mhm.
You know, so I think they're trying to kind of show them as not, and I don't know, because we've already seen Maggie, have a complete flipping meltdown when they
Mhm.
went back to her previous community and just, shot everybody up.
Right.
you know, but yeah, I think for they've been trying to kind of set her up to show that everything she's worked for, built for, everything has just been slowly stripped away from her, and to the end
Yeah.
where all she's had is Herschel, and she's brittle.
Look, they could have had something as simple, and like I said, I understand why they did it. I do. I get
Hmm.
it. But they could have had something as simple as her sitting there holding that kid and grabbing a gun,
Hmm.
just to show she's prepared to defend herself if she needs to.
Right.
That's it. It just didn't have to be like, "Oh, I'm just going to sit here and lay here." I just could not understand that for this character. And I
Well, like you said, I mean, Maggie is emotional, and I
yeah.
mean, this was emotional for her. So I think she's been at a slow boil this whole season,
Mhm.
and and I don't know, yeah, and that kid just really,
That was the last straw probably.
yeah, that was just the thing that just kicked it over the edge.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, she was lucky because it turned out to be Carol and Daryl,
Mhm.
um, and helped her hide the evidence, so the train came through and no one suspected anything.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I'm hoping at this point now that she's had her little breakdown that this will be the end, because she
Yeah.
seems, and she got her little buck up speech from Carol.
Yeah.
We're
Oh
stronger
god.
together.
Basically, like, get your shit together, girl. Like,
Hmm.
I understand. Yes, we were all kind of in a way. Like, they all didn't even talk to each other on a regular basis, like Carol said. So yeah, they had a lot going on. Give yourself some grace or whatever, but it's time to act. Let that
Right.
let it look, put it away in a little box, put the box on top of on the top shelf of the cabinet.
Yeah,
And then after everybody is saved, then you can cry for weeks if you want.
that's right. Pack everything up, put it in, pack it away neatly, and then
Yeah,
when later on, when the crisis is over, you can unpack the box and have your meltdown.
exactly.
Like a nice normal person will.
Exactly.
At least that's how I deal with crises. Um, I'm not normal, but yeah. I also in the previews they also showed the beginning of the trials with Eugene,
Mhm.
so that will be going on next week. I'm really hoping what's going to happen is it'll do the split back and forth between the trial and the liberation of Alexandria.
Oh, I hope so, because to just see a whole episode of that trial right now when we know what else is going on, that's going to be just too painful.
So, and like I said, they showed, part of the previews was, Negan and the Alexandrian group, and then part of it was the trials. So I really am hoping that they flip back and forth, and
We might get 3 different we get
yeah,
3 groups. I wouldn't mind them slipping around throughout those 3 plots right now.
yeah, and finally, and I'm hoping at the end it's because again we've only got a couple more episodes or 3 more
3 more,
episodes.
guys, that's it.
Yeah, so I'm really hoping what'll happen is by the end of next episode, um, it'll be either the people from Alexandria and everyone they've liberated is hops back on a train or something and goes back to the Commonwealth and shows up at the end, or at least they're marching towards.
Right. Mm. Wow. Okay, so we got a lot of conversation out of that episode. I love
Oh
when that
yeah,
happens. Um, so yeah, okay, so I think we're done for today. What do you think, Lisa?
I do believe we are done.
Okay, so we will be back here next week, but I think we will be live next week.
Yes,
We'll be back on our regular schedule.
we're not having
And
2 Halloweens in a row.
yeah, no 2 holiday weekends in a row. So good times. So that is it. We're going to end things there. If you're still listening, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe before you leave so that you don't miss us when we go live. And
Mhm.
we'll catch you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.